Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beginner Yoga. My name is Joanne. Thank you for joining me today to practice. Today we're going to have a nice full body practice that's going to be very accessible, and I'm going to go over a lot of specific details in the postures so that you can start to try to really feel into your body what is happening in each pose. So we're not just like trying to achieve a pose, we're always trying to refine and kind of embody a pose as opposed to just doing the postures. So I really encourage you to sort of drop into your body and tune into yourself and not focus so much on how a posture appears or how you feel like it looks, but see if you can feel a way to open and unwind and sort of express the posture to your fullest potential, no matter what level you're at, no matter how flexible you are, it doesn't matter. So with that, we'll get started. So find a comfortable seat, and if that means sitting up on a blanket or a block, please do that. So I'll just demonstrate here. Even if you don't need to sit up on a blanket, sometimes it's nice to start that way, just to give yourself a little more space. So just gives you a little more room to find ease in the posture. And this is easy pose, so we want it to be nice and comfortable. We want to be able to be in this posture for a while as we get settled. So sitting up nice and tall, it's nice to lift the flesh from under your sitting bones so you can really feel grounded and feel that base of the spine. So there's a tripod. You've got your two sitting bones under your hips or under your glutes, and then the pubic bone in the front. So we think of that as a little tripod, nice stable foundation for our spine to find length from. So we want to lift up out of that foundation. So see if you can feel that and soften and relax the elbows. So you tag even a little bit of weight into the elbows so that the shoulders are down. We want the collarbone to be broad and open. One thing that I think is common for a lot of folks, I know for me this is an issue in sitting, is that you tend to kind of lean forward a little bit or rock forward on the pelvis. So you want to keep the pelvis neutral. So the pelvis is this bowl in the lower body, and we want to keep it neutral. So I'm going to turn to the side so I can show you what I mean. So we want to be nice and neutral here. We don't want to lean forward, and this is kind of putting a little more pressure into the lower back. When we do this, it takes the stability out of that tripod. So you want to keep the low ribs tight and hugged in a little bit so we find a little strength in our core to neutralize that pelvis. So we're not leaning or we're not pulling forward, but we're just nice and tall. And that pelvic bowl is nice and neutral. And the same thing with the head. So we want to keep the chin so it's parallel to the floor. We don't want to drop the head or lift the head. So the chin's parallel. If anything, think about retracting the chin just a tiny bit so it's not super visible. But a lot of times when we're doing phone stuff and computer stuff, a lot of our actions we're looking forward and down. So we want to kind of combat that. And a way to do that is called like a cervical reset. So we retract the chin toward the chest just a little bit. That creates space in the back of the neck. And you want to feel sort of a length and a lift from the crown of the head. Imagine there's an imaginary string lifting the crown of the head. So we just don't want to have our head forward. Our head is so heavy, this puts a lot of strain on our neck muscles. So retract the chin so that the head is floating directly above your spine. So I hope that makes sense for people. Chin's parallel, shoulders are grounded. So it should feel like the head is just lightweight and floating on the spine. Our head is super heavy, so you don't want to strain the neck muscles. So see if you can find that nice neutral position as we start. So there's a lot there just to kind of go over and get your mind around, and then just try to see if you can feel that ease in the pose. Again, just checking all those points from the foundation, the base. The pelvic bowl is neutral, chin parallel, crown of the head light, shoulders grounded, chest open. Easy pose. So from this position, let's begin to focus on the breath. I always like to invite folks to set an intention or dedication for your practice. So it's a nice time to do that here at the beginning of our practice as we drop into the breath. So once you've set that intention for yourself, go ahead and drop into the body, connecting to your breath as you inhale and exhale through the nose. So I'm going to go over the breath a little bit here as well. Really super important in yoga that we breathe with the full body. So we really want to breathe into our belly, our lower belly, below the navel. So you want to, as you inhale, the breath begins there. So you really want to connect to that. So we breathe into the belly. So there's 3 parts to the breath. So that's the first part. The second part of the breath moves the ribs out to the sides of your room. So you're expanding out this way. So you're pulling forward, you expand out on the second part of your breath. And the third part of your breath comes into the chest and clavicle. So the chest will rise a little bit. So the lungs come all the way up here, just near your clavicle, even above the clavicle bone. The lung tissue, the actual organ, comes all the way up here. So we want to think of that 3-dimensional breath as we bring the breath through the body. So start in the belly again, find your posture, and we'll breathe into the belly, ribs, chest. As we inhale through the nose, as we exhale through the nose, we reverse that wave in the opposite direction. So chest settles, ribs come toward each other. And at the very bottom, we want to squeeze the navel gently toward the spine. So we're really pressing all the stale air back out through the nose. And what that action will do is allow the belly to reinflate. So when you really expel the air out, your belly should just automatically open up and fill like a balloon. So closing your eyes and just sort of observe that breath as you're in your easy pose. Make sure you're nice and you have a good solid foundation and posture, and then moving the breath in that position. So we'll do a couple breaths together. Really exhale all the way out. So you can reinflate. So over time, we sort of learn how to lengthen and expand our breath, making it a little bit slower, and that will help the nervous system calm down. Three-part yogic breathing in and out of the nostrils. And we breathe in and out of the nostrils so we can cleanse and warm the breath before it comes into the body. So the nasal passages have lots of little cilia and hairs that help sort of filter the breath as it comes into the body. Good, one more inhale here. And we try to maintain this breath throughout our practice, right? So in yoga, we're joining the body and the mind, the breath and the body. So we want to kind of bring those things together in our practice. And to build on that, so in our practice, and this is not something to stress out about or worry about if you're new, just keeping it in the back of your mind that as we move in postures, we want to fill the lungs and open up on the inhale as we're opening in a posture. So we're lifting the arms, we're breathing in. As we exhale, we might be folding or closing in a particular posture. So we're bringing the arms down, for instance. So inhale, let's sweep the arms up, bring the breath all the way up. Fill the lungs. As you exhale, reverse that wave, squeeze navel towards spine. Inhale automatically comes in. Breathe in, floating up. And exhale all the way down. Squeeze the air out. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Excellent. So we'll shrug our shoulders here a few times, big circles to squeeze up, inhale, and exhale back. So here we want to see if we can bring the shoulders in a full circle as best you can. If you have pain anywhere in the body as you do a posture, you don't want to work in pain. So listen to your body. You're your best judge and guide. Don't ever move in a place of pain. We can still challenge ourselves and find a little burn, maybe a little activity, maybe a little shake, but we never want to feel pain, like a sharp pain or a nerve pain or anything that makes you recoil a little bit. You never want to work there, so you want to always back out of that if you find any discomfort in any position whatsoever. So good, settle the shoulders down. Check your posture again, check your pelvis, check your head, and then relax the shoulders down. Breathe in through the nose, find a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just drop your chin to your chest. So we're not changing anything about our posture. Don't let the shoulders round. Head is heavy here. So we're just stretching the back of the neck. And as you breathe here, I want you to see if you can feel the weight of the head and the breath on your out breath. Stretch your neck a little bit more. So try not to look at the screen here. Let the head be heavy. Breathe in and breathe out. Take another breath here. See if you can feel more of a stretch as you breathe out without rounding your shoulders. And then on your next in-breath, we're just going to rock one ear to the shoulder, open through the side of your neck. Inhale, open. Use your exhale to bow your chin forward. See if you can make this movement smooth with your breath. Inhale to the other side. Open up. Exhale forward. Relax the head. Side to side again. Inhale as you open. And if your breath is a different pace, that's fine. Feel free to go at your own pace. Closing the eyes and feeling into the pose. Inhale. And exhale. Good. One more time to the first side. Inhale, open. Check the posture, nice and open. Walk your opposite fingers out to the side. Activate the fingertips so you feel this down the whole side of the neck and into your arm a little bit. Make sure you're not hunching or rounding or dropping. Keep that integrity of the pose with the head just flexed to the side and the arm out. From here, I'm going to have you just lift your arm out, parallel. Float the arm up as you breathe in. Keeping it extended, shoulder height, and parallel to the floor. If you have any injuries, be mindful and don't work in pain. Flex the fingers toward the face as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, point the fingers toward the floor, flexing the arm the other direction. Keep pulling the shoulder out. Inhale again, open. And exhale down. Keep the spine lifted. It's easy to drop or lose the integrity of the pose. Inhale, open the wrist. Exhale, point the fingers down. Good, send the hand flat again. And then we're gonna turn the shoulder. So you're gonna turn your palm to the back of the room so you're rotating your shoulder in the joint. And then pull the shoulder forward. The head flex to the side, pull forward, pull the arm toward me, feeling this in the whole back of the shoulder. Inhale, send the arm up, bring the head up right with it. And then open the arm back. Pull behind you a little bit. Nice big circle for the shoulder. Excellent. Bring the hand in, sit up tall, breathe in. Exhale, drop the chin. Maintain the integrity of the posture. Inhale, rock to the second side, opening up. Open the chest. Slowly walk your opposite fingers out. Activating the fingers, feeling that down the arm. Finding your breath. Keeping the chest open, core a little active, pelvis neutral. Let your inhale float the arm up halfway. Extending, pulling through the fingertips. Inhale as you draw the fingers toward the face, flex the wrist. Exhale as you point the fingers down. Inhale, pull back. Should feel that through the whole arm. Exhale, drop the fingers. Keep pulling the shoulder out with the head flexed to the side. One more time. Inhale up. And exhale down. Float the wrist. Extend through the fingers, nice and long through the whole arm. Again, we're going to pull the hand toward the back of the room. So rotate the whole shoulder in the socket here. Pull the shoulder in, pull the hand back, and then round a little bit as you pull the hand out toward the screen here. Feeling that stretch through the shoulder and pull toward the screen a little bit more. Keep breathing. Inhale, pull the arm up as you lift the head, and then pull the arm behind your back. Open the chest. Let it go. Good. Come back to center. Drop your shoulders, close your eyes, and take a breath and just observe how you feel in the neck and shoulder area. So I want you to connect to that sensation that you just maybe opened up some more space. Good. And then let's move into a tabletop position on the hands and knees. So I'm going to set my blanket to the side. You're welcome to use a cushion under your knees if you need. A little blanket or towel is nice under the knees. We're going to bring the knees under the hips and the hands under the shoulders. So tabletop position. So again, here we want to think about structural support of our bones, supporting the muscles. So, and we want the feet parallel so they're even. Don't let the toes come in together. Keep the feet parallel. Activate the tops of the feet into the floor so they're not just sitting there, but you're pressing in a little bit. And then you're going to, again, activate the hands into the floor. So brighten your fingers on the mat and rotate the inside of your elbow toward the front. So you can play with the rotation of the arms in the socket, rotating in and out. And notice what that does to your shoulder and your neck. It's going to create some more space in the neck. So your neck, your gaze should be out in front of you on the floor. So the neck is an extension of your spine. We don't really want to drop or lift the head. So see if you can look out, maybe peek at the screen and then keep the neck nice and long. Play with that rotation of the arms. And then ultimately we want to rotate the inside of the elbow forward. We want to micro bend the elbow so we're not locking the joint. And then if you have any wrist issues, you're welcome to come onto your fists. Again, we're still rotating the insides of the elbows forward to keep our neck nice and long. So whichever position works for you. And then our core is active. So I'm not just dropping here. I'm not sagging into my back here. Remember, we want to keep the pelvis neutral. So to do that, I have to engage my core just a little bit. So I'm not dropping into the back body and arching in my back at this point. So neutralize your pelvis, engage your core just a little bit, not too much, and the neck is long. Tabletop position. So a lot going on. And from here, we're going to find our cat-cow poses. So this is going to stretch through the spine a little bit, begin to open the spine up. So here we're going to allow the belly to drop, but we're not going to just drop it and sag into our back body. We're going to create length in the spine. So send the tailbone far to the back of the room, and I'm going to send the crown of my head to the upper corner of my room. So notice I'm not wrenching and looking up. I'm creating length here instead of just dropping into the back. So open up long in the spine. And then exhale, as you round your spine, you're going to turn your tailbone and drop the head between the arms and press up. Inhale as you open your chest. So here we want to feel like the chest is almost pulling through the shoulders, and our tailbone lengthens, our crown lengthens, and then exhale, round. So I think it's really easy for us just to kind of drop and like kind of get into automatic pilot, but I really want you to think about what we're doing. So we're opening, creating space and length, open up. It should feel good. Exhale, round, stretching the other way. So if anything doesn't feel good that you're doing in practice, that's a clue that maybe it's not the right position for your body or for where you are, and that's okay. So I want you to feel good when you're moving in the poses, and when you're achieving postures, it should feel, I mean, again, maybe there's some effort, maybe there's a little burn, a little activity, a little fire, and that's okay. We just don't want anything to hurt. So a lot of times in this posture, I used to think, oh, you just drop your belly, and I feel a little pinch in my back, and that doesn't feel good. So I want to make sure I'm not feeling that. So I'm going to adjust in a way that I'm feeling more spacious and maybe a stretch in my belly, but not a pinch in the back. So there's a difference. So I want you to feel the difference. Close the eyes. I'll take a couple more of these. So sometimes yoga looks, I don't know, easy to some people. And I think a lot of times we're not activating in the right way. So we want to make sure we're taking care of our body and having integrity when we move and do postures. So we'll come back to our tabletop position here. And we're going to take our big toes together and take your knees out a little bit wide. I'm going to push back over my hips. If this doesn't work for you, this position is uncomfortable, or you can't sit back very easily, you can always take a cushion or a towel behind your knees. You can make it bigger. So you can make a nice big round blanket or towel or whatever you have handy at the house and place it behind your knees. And that's just going to give you a little more cushion so you can sit back. So if you need that, feel free to use it. I don't particularly need it, so I'm going to remove it, but I encourage you to use props. It's just going to make accessing a posture a little bit easier wherever you are. So forehead comes down if that's comfortable. Again, you can use a prop here as well. If you can't get close to the floor, that's okay. And then we're going to just thread the needle. So I'm going to bring my left arm under my right, and I'm going to come all the way down to my face. So I'm going to rest my cheek and my ear on the mat. And then you're going to breathe into your shoulder blades. So you're letting gravity here in this little twist in the body kind of release the shoulder in the back. So you can always come onto fingertips here and open the elbow up a little bit to find a little more twist if you want, if that feels good. Or you can take the hand all the way behind the back and reach for the opposite leg. Whatever you do, I really want you to bring the breath. So breathe into your shoulder. So the lungs come all the way up into your shoulder blade. So you're using the breath to deepen your posture and your stretch and your release. Let's take one more breath here. And then unwind yourself and switch sides. So come all the way onto the other side, coming down to the cheek and the ear, finding the arm position on this side that's comfortable for you. And really breathe nice and deep. Maybe close the eyes, melting into the floor with each out breath. One more breath. Unwind yourself. We'll slowly come back onto all fours. Bring your knees under your hips and your hands under your shoulders. Good, and then from here, I'm gonna walk my knees behind my hip points just a tiny bit to tuck my toes under. And then from here, what I'm gonna have us do, a little challenge, a little way to build a little bit of heat in the body. Tuck your toes under, keep the neck long, activate your core, looking down in front of you, and just lift the knees about an inch off the floor if you can, hovering. Breathe. So you should feel this in the quads and then stretching the feet and the toes, the bottoms of the feet. Take one more breath. Good. Return the knees. So notice what that little lift does. Really activates the core. Breathe in. And then this time we're going to come to downward dog. So we're going to come all the way up with the hips. And you're going to pedal your feet one at a time. So walk your dog out. No need to straighten the legs. I'm going to move up a little on the mat. And again, the arms are still rotating forward. So you want to keep that integrity, activate the full surface of your hand into the floor so you're not dumping weight into your wrists. Hips rise, heels opposite, relaxing toward the floor. Keep breathing. And then we're going to come onto the balls of the feet and send the hip points up as you relax the heels. Notice my heels don't touch down. Yours probably won't either, and that's okay. Head is relaxed. Shoulders still moving down the back and open. My collarbone is broad here. So now that we know that rotation of the arms, if you need a break anytime, feel free to come down. The legs are going to rotate internally around the bone. So you're not moving your feet, you're just hugging the muscle internally around the bone toward the midline. And that's going to open up the back body. And then take one breath here. And then slowly walk yourself up to standing forward bend. So we're going to stroll up to the front of the mat. And you're going to measure 2 fists between your feet. That's usually a good hip distance for most people. And the knees are bent as much as you need so your hands are on the floor. So if you're super tight and you're here, that's okay. Bend your knees until your hands come down. That's all good. And then the forehead comes. So wherever you are is fine. You're just going to notice how bent your knees are. So we draw the forehead toward the legs and the knees are as bent as they need to be. So your hands touch down. Home base for the hands and feet across the front of your mat here. Notice my feet are parallel. And my hands are next to my feet, not in front of my feet, but next to my feet. Hold here. Take a breath. We're going to let our head be heavy. Shake it out a little bit. Also good if you're new to practice to not eat at least an hour before your class so that you don't feel sick when you're upside down like this. You don't want to lose your lunch. So from here, I'm going to let my arms hang. So I'm just letting go of my upper body and my head. So the only thing active right now are my feet on the floor. And I'm going to feel the weight, shift the weight around a little bit so it's nice and even. It's kind of fun to play with that a little bit so you can feel into the pose. Feel what it does to your hamstrings as you move a little bit front to back or side to side. And then finding your foundation, coming to a center point for your feet, and then let the upper body be heavy and passive as you roll up. Tuck your tailbone. You're going to roll up one vertebra at a time. Notice my knees are bent here. They're not locked. Arms are heavy. Head is heavy. Roll yourself up to stand in mountain pose. Shrug your shoulders here at the top and open the chest. So just like we did in our seated posture, mountain pose, there's a lot going on. So this is a foundational pose for all standing poses and all balance poses. So it's a really good one to go over a lot of the detail. So thank you for bearing with me. I hope this isn't too redundant or annoying. So you're gonna find even weight on the soles of the feet. So you can shift a little forward, a little back, side to side. And then come back to that center point so you feel the weight is evenly spread across the bottoms of your feet. So you're not leaning forward or back, but you're nice and centered. So from here, again, you want your pelvis neutral. So I have a tendency, my lower back arches a little bit. A lot of people have this. This is a common pathology for the back. And I think it can be the other direction, where if you're super tight in your hips or your whatever, or if you're weak in your core, like me, you have a little lordosis in the lower back, or maybe you have kyphosis. And anyway, I won't get too much into that. But what we want is your pelvis to be neutral. So you don't want to overarch in the back. This is overarching in the back. My butt's sticking out a little bit. I want to tuck my tailbone, and I want my pelvis, that bowl, your hip bones here at the front. You want that bowl to be even. So imagine you were carrying water in it. You wouldn't want it to spill forward. You want it nice and even. So check the pelvis there. These pants, you can't really see my thighs, but I'm activating this muscle in the front of my leg, the quadricep above the knee. So I'm not just standing here. I'm activating that muscle, and I'm neutralizing my pelvis. So my lower body is active. And then my core is a little bit engaged. So I'm not just dropping here either. I'm active in my core. My sternum is lifted and open toward the sky. My shoulders are back. My shoulders are above my hips, which are above my heels. Hopefully that's the case. So you're going to imagine heavy suitcases in the hands. So a little downward energy with the arms. So the shoulders stay down and the neck stays tall. So there's that dynamic energy of grounding and lifting at the same time. So there's an imaginary string lifting the crown of my head up. Remember, the chin is tucked back. Don't let the head be forward. Nice and neutral with the spine. So there's a lot going on in this pose. So I want you to go over all that. The feet, the quadricep muscle, a little active. Pelvic bowl is neutral. Core is engaged around the torso. Heavy suitcases in the hands. Chin is tucked just slightly. Crown of the head lifted tall. Take a breath here in mountain pose. Close the eyes and feel the posture. So a lot of work going on. Even if you know this stuff and you're a beginner, or you're not as much of a beginner, I think it's really helpful to review and go over all of this stuff. So from here, let's reach the arms out. We're going to pull them back behind us and lift up, maintaining the integrity of our mountain pose. Keep the shoulders soft. Don't hunch them up by the ears. Nice and open. Breathe in, and then as you exhale, you're going to send the arms wide and swan dive. Hinge at your hip. Keep a nice flat back. Core still engaged, and fold over your legs. Again, bend your knees as much as you need. Tuck your forehead. From here, we're going to inhale. Bring your hands on top of your thighs and lengthen your spine so it's parallel to the floor. Again, my core is active. I'm going to pull my elbows back and my shoulders away from my ears. I'm finding length here. And then I'm going to exhale and fold all the way back down into your lungs. Then from here, we're going to roll up again. Let the arms dangle. Roll yourself back up to mountain pose. Maybe we shrug our shoulders at the top. Open the chest. Find those heavy suitcases. Mountain pose. Let's inhale again. Reach back and up. And exhale, swan dive. Empty your lungs. On your inhale, float yourself up. Little buoyancy as we fill the lungs, flat back. Exhale as you empty the lungs and fold. Good. Inhale, roll yourself up. See if you can feel each vertebra move on top of the other as you roll up. Come back to mountain pose. And one more time. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, swan dive. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale, fold. From your forward bend here, we're going to plant the hands next to the feet. And you're going to step both feet back to a plank position.
We're going to drop the knees right where they are. So we're not going to panic. So the knees are behind my hip points just a little bit. And then I'm going to plant my chest between my hands. So this is an interesting one if you're new to the practice. You're going to bend the elbows. Again, the insides of the elbows come forward. You're going to bend at the elbow. So that's going to immediately bring a little intention into your biceps. You're going to feel that. We want to keep the shoulders open. We want to engage our core as we lower down. So try not to dump into the back again or arch the back. Keep the back nice and long. You're going to aim to plant your chest between your hands. It's going to really fire up your arms and your core. A lot going on. And then slide the legs out from underneath you so the belly comes to the floor, tops of the feet to the floor. My hands are right next to my chest. My elbows are hugging in toward my ribs and toward the floor behind me, so my shoulders are open. And then as you inhale, you're just going to inhale and lift with the back body. So I'm not pressing up. I'm using the muscles of the back to lift up. You're going to breathe into your belly. Notice my feet are glued to the floor. My tailbone is slightly tucked toward my heels to keep the low back nice and long. My neck is long. I'm not wrenching up. I'm keeping the gaze out in front of me on the floor. Breathe into your belly. So you should be able to lift the hands and keep working with the back body in here. Inhale, breathe. Good, take one more breath. Release the hands next to the chest. Bring the chin down. So cobra pose. And we're going to push up through tabletop. Come onto all fours. And then we're going to tuck our toes under and press our hips up for downward dog. Nice job. So downward dog here. From downward dog, I'm going to have us bend the knees. And you're going to gaze past your hands. So you're going to look up to the front of your mat, past your hands. And I'm going to try to use my core strength to pull the leg forward. Now, if this doesn't work for you, I'll show you an alternative. So I'm gazing past my hands and I'm going to pull my knee in and through. So if that doesn't work, you're like, that's crazy, lady. You can reach back and grab your foot and pull it forward. Either way. So let's drop our back knee and uncurl the back toes. So this crescent lunge position, super important here in this position is that the knee is above your heel, not your toes. You don't want to bend the knee too far. So you want to keep the knee above the heel. Nice right angle for the front leg. Your back leg is a variable. So here I'm going to come onto my fingertips and give myself a little space. So I'm keeping my spine nice and long. Your back leg is a variable. The less flexible you are, maybe the closer your knee is, and that's okay. If you feel like you have room, you can take the knee further behind you to stretch the front of your back leg or that hip flexor. So the hip flexors and the quadriceps really can pull on the back. So we really want to stretch those, but in a safe way. So from here, we're going to find a little scissor action of the inner legs toward the midline. So by that, I mean squeeze your legs in so that they're coming toward each other. So scissoring your legs. So we're activating the muscles, and then you can come up. So if this is comfortable, and then if you want, you can bring the arms up, crescent lunge. Again, keeping the pelvic bowl neutral, so I'm not dumping into the back. Open up. Shoulders are soft. I'm breathing deep. So you're also going to feel this in the back, in the belly on the opposite side. So not this leg, the back leg in the front of your body, stretching into your psoas muscle. Breathe. Slowly exhale and lower the hands to frame the foot again. From here, we're going to walk it back. So I'm going to take both hips backward and I'm going to draw the toes toward my face. I'm going to walk my hands back. And I'm going to create some space. So this is a place, if you want, you can use blocks. So you've got more room. You can take books or phone book. I don't know, phone books are heavy to move around, but whatever you have handy, if you have blocks or not, you don't need them, but it's nice to give yourself space.
We're stretching this front hamstring. Toes are pulling back. And we're also pulling this back sitting bone back to the back of the room. So we're really feeling that in this whole behind the thigh here. Breathe. So again, we want to be in a place of effort and ease, but not pain. Take another breath here. On your exhale, we're going to walk forward and plant the foot. Good, so we're going to tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee. We're going to take our hips up and step back to our downward dog position. You can maybe pedal the feet here. And then we're going to float into a plank pose. So to do that, I just need to bring my shoulders above my wrists. I shouldn't have to move my hands or feet around. So I'm spiking energy through the heels. Notice my hips and my shoulders are in the same plane and I'm looking at the floor in front of me. My neck is long. Breathe. Exhale, drop your knees. And then we'll come down again, plant the chest, bend at the elbows, keep them close. Awkward S. Slide the legs out, tops of the feet down. Inhale for cobra. Keep the neck long. Breathe into the belly. Glue the feet. One more breath. Exhale, lower. Slowly push up, tabletop. Good, tuck your toes. Take it to downward dog. Good, we're gonna bend our knees. And again, I'm gonna gaze forward past my hands. I'm gonna try to use the strength of my core to pull the left leg all the way up. Again, you're welcome to reach back and pull it forward manually. Opening up here, drop the hips, drop your back knee, and uncurl your back toes. Check that there's a nice right angle for the front leg. Again, the back leg is your variable. Once you're there, we're going to find that scissor action toward the midline with our inner thighs. Squeeze the legs together and then come up. And then you want to feel into your pelvis and feel a nice neutral pelvis as best you can. And then send the arms up. If you want, arms are optional. So now we're stretching this back hip flexor. Shoulders are soft. Find your breath. We're still scissoring our legs and trying to keep our pelvis nice and neutral. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, float the hands down to frame the foot, maybe using blocks if you need. We're going to walk it back. Draw your hips back, walk your toes toward your face. Maybe you're using your props, maybe not. Open the chest here. And again, toes come up. Send that left hip sitting bone toward the back of the mat as you lengthen over the leg. Breathe. Nice deep breath in and out. Each breath, you should be able to find a little more space, a little more softness in your stretch. One more breath. Let's use our exhale to walk forward, plant the hands, plant the foot, tuck your back toes as you lift the knee. And we're going to rock forward and step up to forward fold. Let's fold over the legs here and see where you are. Hopefully, maybe you're a little more open. We've been working our hamstrings a bit and our hip flexors, so maybe you're a little more open with the legs. Let's roll it up. Inhale, slow, roll up. One vertebra at a time. Shrug your shoulders, open your chest, coming back to our mountain pose. Good. And then we're going to do a balance pose. So I know it's like a lot more work to go do everything so slowly, I feel like. So hopefully you guys are getting a nice little workout that's not too hard. So we're going to start in mountain pose. And then we're going to do the tree posture. So I think there's a lot of nice subtleties of the tree that we can go over as well. So again, the foundational pose for all balance is mountain pose. So we start there. So find your mountain pose. Go over your little list of items to take note. And then you're gonna shift the weight. Now, the important thing with balance is to keep breathing and to fix your gaze on something that's not gonna move. So like a notch in your tile or carpet, something on the floor. And if you need stability, you're welcome to use a wall or a chair as well. So there's no hard and fast rules here. So again, I'm lifting my quads, they're active. I've got a micro bend in my knee joint though, so I'm not locking my knee. So I'm gonna start on this leg. I'm gonna shift my weight to this leg. I'm gonna fix my gaze. And then there are many options for the tree. So you can have the foot right next to your ankle with the toe down. You can use your calf, your big calf muscle. Do not use your knee because your knee is not supposed to go sideways. It's only a hinge joint forward and back. So we don't want to ever stand on the knee. So you can use your ankle, your calf, or if you want to come up higher, you can use your thigh. Notice my leg is out and open to the side. It's not forward here. So I'm opening out. And again, that scissor action we talked about in the last pose, think about that dynamic energy. So we're bringing the foot and the thigh or the leg into each other. So we're creating energy and lift at the midline. So see if you can feel that, pressing the foot and the leg in toward the center, and then bring your hands to your chest when you're ready. And if you fall out of the balance, it's all good. You just start again, start from mountain pose. So from here, if you want, you're gonna send your arms up. Keep your shoulders relaxed and soft. So I'm extending, I think I'm off camera, my fingers and my wrists are extended so the energy keeps moving through my limbs. Breathe deeply as you balance. So every day is different for balance. So some days are better than others, and that's okay. The point is to practice. Take one more breath. As I fall out of my tree, see, there I go. So then to come out of the tree, you're gonna come down nice and slowly, hands to heart, release the foot, and then shake it out. So I forgive myself for falling and I'm gonna forget about it. We're gonna do the other side. That's another important part of yoga, is not to get frustrated with yourself. So I'm going to shift my weight to this leg now, starting in mountain pose, fixing my gaze. And then I'm going to take the sole of my other foot either to the ankle, the toe down, to the calf, or to the thigh. Whatever feels comfortable for you today. Again, find that action where the foot and the thigh are pressing together, creating some lift, hands to heart. Keep breathing, and when you're ready, send your arms up, soften your shoulders. Breathe. Nice, deep yogic breaths. And nice and slowly lower the hands down to your chest, releasing the foot, coming down, and then shake it out. Excellent. So let's come down to the floor. So I'm going to come down all the way to the mat. You can come down through squat if you'd like. Totally up to you. I'm going to extend my legs out. I'm going to lift the flesh away from my sitting bones. And I'm going to draw my toes toward my face. I'm going to press the backs of my legs into the mat, and I'm going to take my hands next to my hips, and I'm going to lift up in stack pose. So I'm engaging my core here, and I'm sitting up nice and tall. Flex your feet. A lot of work going on here. We're activating our quads, pressing the thighs down, lifting through the core, dropping through the shoulders. Breathing into your belly. Good. And then from here, I'm going to come all the way down to the back. So I'm going to take my hands on my thighs and I'm going to challenge my core. I'm gonna keep my feet glued to the floor, and I'm gonna unfurl myself to the floor. So take your time. The slower you go, the harder it is. Engage your core, feet stay glued. And slowly come all the way down to the back. Good, so once you get to your back, you can kind of wiggle around a little bit. Shake it out. When you're on your back, I want you to make sure, another common issue when lying on the back is the chin is lifted because you're real tight maybe in the back of the neck. If that's the case, I want you to take a prop, a blanket, maybe even a thin book, whatever height you need. You're going to take that under your head. So it should be flat, whatever you're working with. And then maybe I just need a little lift. Maybe you don't need much. Maybe you do need more if you're really tight. So the goal here is so that the chin is not lifted and the back of the neck gets tight. We want the back of the neck long and the chin neutral. So you want the nose straight up and the eyes straight up to the sky. So I hope that makes sense. So make sure your neck is nice and long. Now notice here that my neck is still moving away from the floor, and that's normal if you don't have stenosis or pathology in the neck. The curve of the neck does move forward a bit. So this is normal that it's not on the floor, but it's still long, right? I'm not crunching it. It's nice and long. So I hope that makes sense. And then we're going to bend our knees and place our feet on the floor. So my feet are going to be parallel to one another and a hip width apart again. So I don't want the knees splayed out or toes pinched in. So make sure your feet, take a look, make sure your feet are parallel and hip width. Good. And then take your arms down next to your hips, palms face the floor. You're going to walk your fingers down as far as you can get them toward your heels. So that's going to bring the shoulders away from the ears. Again, make sure the neck stays neutral. And we're going to do some pelvic tilts or bridge. So we're going to activate the hands and the feet gently. And as we inhale, we're going to peel our back up. Send your hip points toward the sky. Inhale. Notice my head stays neutral and straight. Inflate the belly at the top. Exhale, lower down. If you do have a block at home or something, you can place it between your knees. It's a nice way to make sure the knees don't splay out. And then we're going to come up a couple more times. So I'm going to have you move with your breath. So try not to turn your head when you're doing these at all. Keep the neck straight. Even weight in hands and feet. Inhale, press the hips up as you breathe in. Exhale as you come down. See if you can articulate one vertebra at a time. Again, inhale, peel up. Fill the belly and the lungs. Exhale, lower down. Good. This time I'm going to change the verbiage a little bit. So I want you to see if you feel a difference. So my hands and feet are down. And then as you inhale, I want you to think about moving your knees to the front of the mat. I know that sounds weird, but just see how that changes your lift. So inhale, send your knees forward as you breathe in. And exhale down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, send the knees forward. And exhale down. So what I find when I do that is I feel less tension in my hips and my glutes. So when I send my knees forward, it takes tension and tightness out of the glutes. So it's just nice to try it different ways and see how that feels. From here, we're going to take our knees into our chest, squeeze your knees in. And we're just going to massage our back. So make some circles with your knees. in one direction, and you can play with different widths between the knees. Again, I encourage you to close your eyes and feel into the posture, whatever feels right for your body. Might look different than what I'm doing. That's okay. And then reverse your circles. Keep breathing as you move. Okay, great. Now, knees are squeezed into the chest. Your neck is neutral. You're using your prop if you need it. And then I want you to draw the tailbone toward the floor so your back is on the floor. We're going to reach down. You can grab whatever is accessible. Your ankles, your feet, maybe you can reach your big toes, inside, outside of the foot, maybe just the ankles or the calves, maybe just the thighs. So whatever is accessible, keep the neck long and neutral. You're going to pull the tops of the thighs down as you stand on the wall. So notice my legs are wide, happy baby. You want the tailbone on the ground. You want your shoulder blades on the ground. So if you're trying to reach your feet and you're like this, that's not the pose, not the point of the pose. So the point of the pose is to neutralize the spine, draw the tailbone down, head is long, and open it into the hips a little bit. You can also do a little tension and release here where you resist what you're pulling down, you resist toward the sky, and then relax. Maybe you rock a little gently side to side, but notice my tailbone is down. I'm not rounding and lifting my back. So we're neutralizing here. Take one more breath. In and out. Good, and then slowly release the legs, release the feet to the floor. If you have any tension at all in your back, you can keep the knees bent and the feet on the floor, wide apart. Let the knees fall to the midline. If your back feels pretty good, you can stretch your legs all the way out, feet them out width apart, just let the legs flop out so the feet are open to the side. Whichever's comfortable for you. Then we're going to tuck our shoulder blades under our chest to open the heart and keep the palms facing the sky. Allow your fingertips to curl and relax. Gently rock your head side to side. Make sure the neck is neutral. We're going to close the eyes for just a couple of moments to relax in Savasana and let ourselves just absorb all the benefits of all the postures that we took. Nice deep breath in and out. Allow the eyes to fall closed. Eyelids are soft. Eyebrows and brow is soft. Maybe your lips are slightly apart so that your jaw is soft. Feeling everything just melt into the earth. Letting the body just drop and go. Just releasing any tension anywhere that might be lingering. Deep breath in and out. Using your out breath to completely let go. We'll just be here for a minute or two, so keep relaxing and releasing. Such an important pose to give ourselves time to relax, time to incorporate all that we just did. Relax, relax, relax. And just gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And again, maybe rock your head a little bit side to side. And nice and slowly, you're going to make your way to the right side of your body, coming to a fetal position. You can make a pillow with the hands or the arm, whatever's comfortable. So we roll onto the right side of our body because the heart sits slightly to the left of our body. So we want to give the heart a chance to refill with blood, unless you're pregnant, in which case you don't want to roll onto the right side, you want to roll onto the left side. And that's because of the hepatic portal vein, I think, for the baby, the liver. Anyway, if you're not pregnant, you can roll onto your right side. Just giving the heart a moment to fill. And then when you're ready, you're going to use your left hand to sit back up. So take your time coming back to our easy pose. Sitting up nice and tall again. Make sure you're feeling all the points of the postures that we went over. Nice and tall and open. So that the energy and the breath can flow freely through the body. From our easy pose, let's sweep the arms up as we gather some energy. Breathe in deep here. Seal your hands at the top and bring them down to your heart center. Bow to yourself for practicing today. We'll bow to each other. Namaste. Thank you guys for joining me. I know it was a slow, detailed practice, so I welcome any comments, suggestions, or requests. Thank you for joining me.